I just wanted to bring everybody up to date. I always work on this coach continually, but forget to take videos, and a lot of this stuff I'm learning all on my own. Neighbor was replacing some halogen lights on his service truck, so I got halogen lights for a porch light now. Haven't used them yet. They ought to be nice and bright. Recently put in a set of 295/80 R22.5s on the coach, had them balanced. Cost $913 for the set. Everything balanced on off, the whole thing. A and B tire in Albuquerque. I think they did a real nice job. They said they saw they had to remount the tire several times and spin it, I guess, to make it look right when it was spinning on the spin balancer. I have put in a TPS tire pressure monitoring system as well, since I still have 4 old tires in the back. These tires are 16 ply and they'll carry, they're rated for, I think it's like 1,500 pounds a piece more than the other ones at a lower tire pressure of 90 pounds. One of the reasons I went with them. And when I get around to replacing ones on the back, I'll do the same thing on the back. Got a little bigger tire. I came up with this little apparatus for my door. When I bought this coach, the stop pin was busted and the door would come around and actually hit the mirror. So I took the door apart, had to build myself a pin, and then I just got this bright idea. I use this nylon strap, this red string to remind me not to walk into it, and bungee cord and put around the handle so I can leave it open. And I really do like it. I was wondering what I was going to do to put a stop on this door. Go inside, I just duck underneath if I want to leave it open, and then I can reach out and grab the screen door and bring it in. If I wanted to, I could put a little notch in there and get that pocket to close completely. But now I'm not so concerned about leaving my door open. Those are the extended cup holders I put in. I don't know if I ever gave a good shot of them, so something will stay in them. The other ones wouldn't. One of the main things, a couple of the main things I wanted to point out, we're getting ready to go on a 4,000 mile trip, and I'm setting up all my electronics here. I have my tire pressure monitoring system installed now. This is where the GPS is going to go. I installed that port expander there in the back so that I can hook up everything up here, because besides having an I-pass up in the windshield, I also have a I forget what the name of it is right now, but I have an onboard camera in the car that I run all the time. It is inexpensive, it loops, and some people run them in the front and the back window. They have high incidence of traffic accidents around here and people without insurance. So I'm adding that when I go on vacation. I take the RV GPS out of the car and the camera, and I put the camera up in there, and then I have a recharging station for my cell phone. So altogether I end up with about 4 or 5 things I got to plug in here. And then what I'm a little excited about was recently installing my CB. This is a model 75-822, and sorry I'm not more prepared for this, but you'll get the general idea. I'll put the link in down below, and you can remove this base and put battery packs on it and a rubber ducky antenna and walk around in the woods with it if you want. So I also bought a headset for it, which I hang right here with a push to talk button on it, so when I'm going down the road I can talk on a CB if I want to. And then because of my tinnitus and hearing, I got this external speaker sitting here that I plugged into the speaker jack, and that helps aim it up towards me. This little metal container is my glove box. Since the RV doesn't really have one, I have all kinds of little bits and pieces in there that I grab on a regular basis. Then I put a expander plug in down here as well to plug the CB into. I had to tie it in because it kept wanting to back out. I hope you're not getting any wind noise. But a couple of tricks. This window here was fogged out when I bought the RV, this front pane, and you have to buy the whole side window at a cost of $1,000 and then go to a shop and have them put it in. So I did a tricky thing. I broke the inside pane. So this is a single pane instead of a thermal pane, but it just cost me some nerves and a glass cutter. I cut the glass and then I took a screwdriver and I hit it to make it crystallize, and I pulled it all out, and then I just puttied all this back in. Didn't feel like spending $1,000 on a 14-year-old coach for a side glass. Insurance wasn't going to cover it because it was a pre-existing condition. So moving on back to the CB, I always think to give you guys an update, but don't always remember to show all the steps that went into it. So real quickly, I'll just summarize here. Get the curtain open. It actually went a whole lot better than I thought it would. Get this out of the way. I took these two panels off here, and then there's a bundle of cables that go down underneath the hood right here. And then what I did is I drilled the 2 holes for the side mount because it's a non-ground plane antenna, and I'm not so technically savvy that I can explain all that to you, other than you have to use a non-ground plane antenna on motorcycles and boats and things like that. So I put a 4-foot antenna on it. I'm sitting at about 13.8 at the tip right now. It's a tunable antenna from Midland called a Fire Stick. And, excuse me while I scoot around and show you. A little wind noise here probably, at least I can hear it in my ears. So then I came down where that bundle of wires is up there in the corner. That comes down from that panel I showed you. And that bright longer cable you see right there just loops back with the wires in through the firewall to go back to the radio. The radio has a terminal end that you just put on it so you can feed the cable through small spaces. And then I got a Fire Stick side mount antenna, and I was kind of concerned that that antenna might be too stiff and damage mount, so that's a stainless steel coil that I put in there. Since I'm outside, I'll take you around back real quick and I'll show you what else I added, and then we'll go back to the CB just because it's on my mind right now. So these, I put in some seal beam lights because I had to replace almost all these lights back here when I bought the coach. Need to close my hood, it looks like. And then I bought this bike carrier at Walmart and set up to fit a 1-inch or a 2-inch with some adapter plates. And they have this thing on here that says not to weld on it. It's good for 400 pounds. So I won't tell you what I did to make it work with my 2-inch hitch. And then later this year we plan on getting a car dolly, so I still have the hole in the bottom to hook the car dolly up to. I use this on the back of my pickup too. Pull these pins right here, it'll fold up straight. And I think with the bikes on it, I may have to, excuse me a minute, forgot to close this. I may have to remove one of them to get into the engine house to open up this access panel, but maybe not because it sticks off the coach a good distance, which I like. But another reason is when I pull out of the driveway, they have that loop on the bottom of the hitch, and that actually drags, so I wanted to make sure this is raised up, and I'll have my wife check it when we take off to make sure the bikes aren't going to drag, because they were off the pickup coming out of the driveway. Didn't hurt anything, but I could see them wiggle. They just scraped the ground, but that pickup sits kind of close to the ground. So going back in here, once you get the CB installed, excuse me again here, you have to set the SWR and use a little meter like this. Standing wave ratio it's called. So you set the switch on FWD, you key it up. Midway you're supposed to have less than 2.1, and then you bring it over to the set on there with the dial, and then with the key still down you put it on REF, and that tells you if you're in range. If you go out of range in the red area, you can burn up the radio. The radio, the CB I showed you, has a low and a high power setting for using it mobile. You can use it on high power, and then it has a standard wattage, I think of 13 watts. And then if you're on the battery packs, you would you can knock it down to 1 volt, so the battery packs last a lot longer. So now I can keep an ear out for changing road conditions and having availability of channel 9 if I need it. And that was kind of my concern, is if we were in an area where we weren't getting reception on the cell phones and we needed some help. So sorry about all the bobbles and moving around, but you got the general idea of my updates. Thanks for watching.